Alright, welcome back for our first test match with this green-red tokens deck. We're going to play first here. And we're going to keep, despite this hand not having a turn 1 forest, we'll still be able to go turn 2 Mogwai Marshal into turn 3 Thermal Alchemist with Cruel Turf, and then we'll go from there. Might as well leave up the mountain so that we might bluff a lightning bolt, though that's actually gonna matter. Looks like we're up against Stompy. Stompy, I don't know if Stompy is going to be that bad of a matchup. Actually, I'm gonna go Thermal Alchemist here. Yeah, that sounds a bit better. Because he can block and my opponent might not have a pump spell to deal with it. I guess I could have gone more War Marshal, but I think Thermal Alchemist. I think I'd rather get Thermal Alchemist online as well. I think that'll just be better. My opponent is attacking. I think I'll call the bluff and block. Thermal Alchemist is not crucially important to the plan. Oh, looks like he didn't kill it. Sweet. Bluff called. That Garrus Companion, however, that is a bit of a beating. Okay, well, now we really need a forest. Gonna double block with this Mogwai Marshal, so this actually works out now. Turn a mountain and pass the turn. And then next turn we can go, hopefully I draw a green source and I can go both Nettle Sentinels in to scatter the seeds. But, guess we'll find out now, won't we? So my opponent is attacking with both. I'm going to go ahead and just block like I did before, and then I'm going to double block here. So the reason why is because if my opponent wants to use a pump spell to kill my token and my Mogwai Marshal and leave this dude alive, it's possible that I'd be taking one unnecessary damage by not blocking. And it looks like my opponent did not have anything. The reason why I'm blocking so aggressively is because you should not run out of creatures in this deck unless you're flooded with either lands or like Dino Charge effects and things like that. So you shouldn't really have that much of a problem. Oh, my opponent did get in 1 damage, so the Skargan Pitskull can, you know, get big. But I guess Nettle Sentinels can block it. And it looks like my opponent's on the that type version. Ooh, Raid Bombardment. Okay, that's not bad. So now we get to play Raid Bombardment whenever you cast instant or sorcery. Okay, so Raid Bombardment doesn't actually count. And I can say go. So my opponent could just be on the more of the creature plan. They have Wild Mongrels and Basking Root Wallows, it looks like. I sometimes don't run into lists that have what's the name? Shrine of Life's Roar, the lure creature that's a 1/2. But I know most Stompy players do have it. Some Stompy players don't. So Riverbow, okay. Never getting Island Walk against my deck, so Thermal Alchemist can block it all day. And my opponent did not attack with Skargan Pitskull because he does believe that I was going to block, which actually this time I was not going to, because I want to be able to cast Scatter to the Seeds next turn. So that is pretty funny, actually. So now we get to cast Nettle Sentinel. Yes. And we get to cast Mogwai Marshal. Yes. And I am just going to say go here to leave up Scatter the Seeds. And we're at the point pretty much where like a Dino Charge or just something wins the game. Almost, at least. The cool thing about Dino Charge or Raid Bombardment is you can attack first, let Raid Bombardment trigger, and then you can do Dino Charge, which is quite cute. So that is something. Ooh, my opponent is not attacking. It looks like my opponent does not have any pump spells in their hand, which is quite interesting. They might just be creature flooded, which means we're going to sit here for a little while. What I need now is a Sprout Swarm. Sprout Swarm is really the crucial card that I need. So that is something to keep in mind. I also can't really attack with my Nettle Sentinels now because... Oh, wait, let me do this first. Because of the fact that, whatchamacallit? Don't auto-yield to this guy, by the way, because it'll screw you up. And poke. Forgot what I was talking about. I don't remember. Whatever. Doesn't make a difference. Oh, because I can't attack Nettle Sentinels because of River Boa. Because it'll just regenerate them, so it's not the world I live in. Drew a forest, so unfortunately that doesn't really get me anywhere. I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures in play to trigger Raid Bombardment, so I either need to get my opponent to 8 or draw another Raid Bombardment. So hopefully we'll be in business with that. If my opponent draws a Rancor for the Skargan Pitskulk, it's going to be a bit of an issue. It's not going to be very pretty. We'll see. I'm wondering why my opponent's not attacking Basking Root Wall. I guess because if I double block the Nettle Sentinel, that kind of screws stuff up. Well, now my opponent can attack with River Boa. Huh, that's interesting. My opponent could have attacked with River Boa and then untap River Boa, but I guess that's not the world we live in. I think my opponent might be on a little bit of tilt by what's going on with this deck. Okay, so I'm going to use this to kill the Pitskulk, and the reason for that is I can literally sit here for a while. And, you know, just stare at my opponent because I can literally just attack all in with Raid Bombardment at some point and kill my opponent. And the only way that that plan doesn't work out is Skargan Pitskulk cannot be blocked, so I can't even chump if I wanted to. So that is something to keep in mind. I'm going to keep the forest in my hand just so that my opponent doesn't know what the hell it is. Maybe maybe they'll think it's a Dino Charge if they know this deck, or they'll think that it's just some kind of pump spell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I suppose Might of the Masses also wins the game, now that I'm counting. So that is something to keep in mind. We'll see. Alright. Opponent played a Basking Root Walla, used Kieran Ranger to untap the forest, and then said go. Now the Sky are the Steeds. Okay, so I believe that does mean I win next turn. Because I will deal 3 damage to my opponent, 2 now, and then 1 on my main phase, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage coming in with Raid Bombardment. So I do believe that that should be the game. Hold on a second. Okay, so I was sitting here for a little while because there was a ton of noise going on outside, and I figured I'd take advantage of the pause button until then. As my opponent shows the dog itself. Or hound, I guess. I guess dog can't really be a creature type, right? Because there's wolf and there's hound. And I guess both of those are kind of dog-like. I don't know. So I really won this game based on the fact that I have Thermal Alchemist chipping away. I have Raid Bombardment. I chose to call on whether or not my opponent had I guess I overtapped. Oh, whatever. Had pump spells. And also the fact that my opponent did not draw any pump spells. I just you know, I really just I think played this game a little correctly while getting a little lucky at the same time. Not Thermal Alchemist. Okay, so whenever a creature you control power 2 or less attacks, Raid Bombardment deals 1 damage to defending player. I have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 creatures that can attack with power 2 or less. So let's get in there and trigger Raid Bombardment 1,000 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. My opponent was forced to scoop. Alright, cool. So we're going to bring in the Essence Wardens. We're going to bring in the Moment's Peace. I'm not bringing in Electrickery. They're not great against Stompy. Yes, it does kill Kieran Ranger. It does kill Basking Root Wall when they don't have Pump Up. And it does kill... it does make River Boa have to regenerate. And it makes Young Wolf into a 2-2. Seems pretty bad. But however, we can take out Spire Silk Armor. We're not going to need that. We don't really need Young Wolf, but the fact that it blocks twice is probably useful. I suppose Flame Slash is not at its best. That is for sure. Could probably take 2 of those out. And probably take out 1 Dino Charge. I think that the way that we're going to win this game is we're only going to need 1 of them. We're not going to need 1 too early. Although, maybe I'm rethinking that. No, I guess you kind of want that in, don't you? You need to win the game quickly. I kind of only want to leave 1 Flame Slash in, since Flame Slash is not great. But I think you kind of want 2 in because you do want to draw it somewhat early. So you want more than 1 copy. Could take out a Nettle Sentinel. Nettle Sentinel is a little bit worse than Young Wolf. It's not really going to get in all that often. So I guess we could just take 1 of those out. We're not really all that aggressive, and Nettle Sentinel with Sprout Swarm is cool, but we have Essence Warden with Sprout Swarm, and gaining the life should offset the having to make 1,000 tokens, and 1 Nettle Sentinel I think is fine. I think it's really just, you know, at some point you have to cut some things, and, you know, that's really the reason. So, I would like to keep this hand, but the problem is I only have 1 forest, and I would need to specifically draw a mountain to be able to do it. And it, you know, if I just don't, I'm just not going to get anywhere, so I'm going to mulligan. This hand, however, is actually fine. We can even keep the Nest Invader. It's a bit slow, and it's kind of a mulligan to 5 since we have 2 Sprout Swarms. But I would keep this on a mulligan to 5, so I think that works out. Opponent had no 1-drop, so that's really good for me. Oh yeah, you can't F8 when you have Convoke cards in your hand. I learned that now. So next turn we'll be able to go Nettle Sentinel. Unless we draw an untapped land, then we're going to go Nest Invader. Oh, that's not what I wanted to see. Something I can't block. Drew a Young Wolf. I think Nettle Sentinel's still better. Hopefully I draw an untapped land, an untapped green land, so I can go Nest Invader plus Young Wolf, and that'll give me 5 creatures, so I can go Scatter the Seeds. Wait till my opponent unpauses. Actually, I forgot that the plant is green, so I'm going to be able to cast Scatter the Seeds anyway. I don't actually need an untapped green source, because I can just make a dude with Colony Garden. Rancor. Okay. So this is literally going to be a race between can I kill my opponent quickly enough, or can I draw an Essence Warden quickly enough. Another Young Wolf. Alright. Doesn't really do all that much for me right now. So I'm going to get to attack with this Nettle Sentinel, play the Nest Invader, actually get in for some type of damage. Go ahead and play Nest Invader. And say go. And then at the end of turn, we'll be able to make 3 dudes. I'm going to need either a Moment's Peace, or an Essence Warden, or a Dino Charge here quickly. Or else I'm actually going to be in more trouble than all of you might want to believe. Because I can't block this little word I'd rather not use. Or I could just be dead. Okay, that's not good for me. My opponent's using Vines of the Vastwood aggressively. So chances are I'm probably dead next turn since my opponent did that. So need a Dino Charge here or a Moment's Peace, like, now. Pay 1. Okay, gotta be really careful with this little guy. Because the sack version, for some reason, is the above one. I guess that's because it's his actual ability. Okay, drew Moment's Peace. Right on time. So I think here I'll attack for 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'll play Young Wolf, since it's the same exact amount of damage as a Sprout Swarm. And then I'll be able to untap my Nettle Sentinel. And we'll see what happens here. A Dino Charge would still help, though, of course, and an Essence Warden would actually make things a bit better. Looks like my opponent was on the Ride Silhana Ledgewalker to victory plan, and my opponent just has not drawn really anything. I'll also get to make a token with Sprout Swarm as well, which will be really good. I just noticed I have 5 creatures untapped. Alright, so unless my opponent is threatening lethal, I don't have to use Moment's Peace here, which is great. Yep, I can literally go to 1, and I don't care, as long as I'm not dying. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, actually, I guess I can do this now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm gonna just make another token with Sprout Swarm since I have another one in my hand. I mean, my opponent's not going to counter it, so 1 and 2. Okay, I suppose Raid Bombardment would also be good here, so gonna go ahead and gain a life. And then I can just send everybody in. My opponent could also have Moment's Peace. So we could have dueling Moment's Pieces, which would be cute. And then I can actually cast Young Wolf. Also, side note, you cannot actually... Okay. You cannot actually, Ooh, opponent's at 3, sweet. Oh, I forgot to cast Young Wolf. Oh well. You can't convoke with, the Eldrazi spawn and pay, and sacrifice him to pay 1. That is not allowed because you're doing the same thing. Oh, and we won the match. Okay. So, it looks like my opponent, either was probably on all lands. It looks like they kept a hand of, like, maybe 4 lands, Vines of the Vastwood, Silhana Ledgewalker, and Rancor. And then because they didn't mulligan, and then they just drew nothing but lands. Unless they actually had stuff in their hand that I'm not aware of. Maybe they had a couple Gleeful Sabotages or something. But looks like they didn't really have anything. So Stompy is kind of an easy matchup for this deck. Like I said, it's kind of easy to play against the aggro decks because you just literally swarm them, gain life with Essence Warden, have Moment's Peace to Fog, and things like that. If the aggro deck is like Red Deck Winds or Goblins or something like that, it's a lot harder because they have Electrickery after board, or like Burn.deck has Martyr of Ashes, and it's just not pretty, but either way, as you say. So, that was our first round match, and, yeah, guess we'll do another one. Stay tuned. Be back for match number 2. Thanks for watching.